What if becoming a star meant facing your darkest fears? Meet Maxine Minx, a Hollywood actress with a deadly secret. As she fights for fame, she's haunted by a past that could ruin everything. But the real shock? A twist so surprising, it will leave you speechless. Stay with us, you won't believe how this story ends. So, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to explain a horror movie named MaXXXine. So with wasting any time, let's jump to the main video. The movie opens with a video from Maxine's childhood, where she is performing a dance for the church. Now she wants to become a big actress. For this reason, she came to audition the director today. Maxine's audition goes well as the director likes her performance, confidence, and attitude. After the audition, Maxine leaves in her car and reaches her village. Here, her colleague invites her to a party in Hollywood, but Maxine declines and leaves to shoot the scene. As soon as she returns from the scene, she gets a call from her manager, who gives her the good news that the movie she auditioned for has finally got. She immediately tells this to her friend, whose shop is just below her apartment. Her friend was very excited to hear this news. But she couldn't stay here for long because she had to go somewhere else now. She had other job where she was performing live dance in an empty room. In front of her was a mirror, behind which the other could see her, but Maxine could not see her. Watching Maxine dance, the leather-clad man was going mad with rage, but we can't see her face. Anyway, after the dance, Maxine leaves the room and meets another colleague, who has already invited her to a party in the Hollywood Hills. Anyway, now she's on her way home. The night was deep, but he walked with confidence as if he was not afraid. While walking like this, a man with knife stops him in a dark place, but Maxine had a gun. She pulls out the gun and holds the man at gunpoint. Even the man was trying to scare Maxine, but the poor man was afraid. Maxine forces him to undress at gunpoint, then proceeds to crush the man's body with her heels. As she leaves, she tells the man, "When someone tries to hit me like that, I crush his head." After returning home, she watches a movie with her friend at night and falls asleep. During the night, the doorbell rang at her house. She goes to see. Looking outside, there was no one outside. But someone left an envelope outside her door. Leaving the envelope, the man immediately fled from here with the elevator. Inside the envelope was a tape, and when she opened it, she found himself watching a movie. It had many adult scenes. It seemed like someone was trying to blackmail her. Sync cut. We then meet two of Maxine's co-workers who went to a party in the Hollywood Hills, where they invited Maxine to. They were abducted from the party and were now being videotaped blindfolded and face-bound. All this was done by the man in leather who was shown in the starting of the movie. The next morning, Maxine goes to the studio. The first movie she got was a horror movie, for which she had to change her get-up a lot, and now she was getting ready to make her face mask. For this work, her face was heavily waxed, and now she had to keep her eyes and mouth closed for a long time. As soon as she closes her eyes, she begins to feel that there is a ghost behind her. As if a ghost was going to kill her by putting his hands on her neck. She suffocates to death, but before that, she cleans the wax from her mouth and can breathe. After the scene cut, we are shown a pool scene where two police detectives arrive, as two bodies are found inside the pool. These bodies are none other than those of Maxine's colleagues, whose bodies were beaten to create a strange mark. Scene shift, and we see Maxine gets in the car to go home, and gets someone's card in her car. The card had a number written on it and said that it would be nice if we could talk. Although she didn't want to, Maxine collected the number. On the other hand, who was talking, he called Maxine to meet him at the hotel. He was a private detective who took money from people and spied on them for their purposes. In the evening, Maxine goes to meet this person, and the person tells her that the person who was gathering information about you now wants to meet you, and if you don't meet with him, it will be very bad for you. He will expose all your wrongdoings and thereby endanger your future. He gives Maxine a newspaper clipping, which reports on a murder in Texas, and it scares Maxine that she was behind the murder. Anyway, back home she finds that the police detective has also come to her house. In fact, he was investigating the murders of her colleagues. She did not answer any of the police's questions because she was afraid that the police might frame her previous case. Although, she had nothing to do with this case. Here, the blackmailer also badly framed Maxine. She could have complained to the police if she wanted to, but she didn't because if she did, she would get herself trapped. Anyway, now she picks up the tape from her house which the blackmailer left at her house. She takes it to her friend and tells him to track down the tape and see who recorded it. Meanwhile, she gets a call from her director, who is taking her to see the movie sets. For this, they go far from the city. The location was great, but here Maxine sees a girl through the window. Maxine knew that this girl wasn't really here. She had only come to scare her because Maxine had killed this girl. Here the director tells Maxine that the producer doesn't want Maxine to work in his movie because Maxine has a bad past. But the director loves her performance and tells Maxine to give her 100%. I'm with you. This movie will be in theaters and your fame will skyrocket. Maxine also nodded because she didn't want to miss this opportunity. As she leaves for home, she sees the same detective who told her to meet someone and he is following her. This makes Maxine angry. She gets out of the car and tries to convince the detective, "Leave me alone or you'll be in trouble too." She then got into her car and went to her manager because now the situation was such that she couldn't tell anyone. She tells her manager everything, how a man was blackmailing her and a detective was behind her. "That guy knows all about my past and threatened me that he will expose everything and ruin my future." The manager tells her, "You go and prepare for your movie. I'll see everything else." She doesn't want to meet the guy, but sits at home and starts memorizing the movie script. And the man who wanted to meet Maxine, in revenge for Maxine's behavior, kills her friend. He commits this murder so brutally that everyone is stunned. After the murder, the man sits in the detective's car and we learn that the detective is helping the man in all kinds of ways. In the morning, as soon as Maxine leaves her flat, she is shocked to see so many people outside. And when she learns that her friend has been murdered, she is completely devastated. Her friend had a similar seal on his body. The police take Maxine to the police station because the 3 people who were murdered were all in contact with Maxine and had the same seal on their faces. The police urge Maxine to tell them everything she knows. "The more you help us, the more we can help you. And if you don't say anything, the serial killer will probably kill you next time, because these 3 were so close to you." Anyway, Maxine says nothing to the police and goes back to her studio, where her film is being shot. There she meets her co-star, who gives Maxine a lot of confidence and convinces her that she will do well in the movie. They couldn't discuss the movie for long, because another girl had to go to a party in the Hollywood Hills. But before leaving, Maxine told her co-star, "You have to remember that." Before she can finish her work, the detective arrives, who is following her in conjunction with the blackmailer. This time the detective also had a gun, which he pulled out. Maxine is scared of him and sees her own face in front of her. To save herself, she went back to the house, where the movie was being shot. Having said that, she actually survives as the security forces capture the detective. Seeing Maxine so scared, her manager realizes that something is wrong with Maxine. "Solve all the problems this weekend," she tells Maxine, "because I can't stand any problems at work." Maxine remembered her words, and now she decided that she would end it all. She goes to a party where the detective is already present. Maxine knew the detective would follow her here too. So he follows her to a garage, where Maxine's manager and another man are waiting for him. Upon his arrival, he is knocked unconscious and taken to a junkyard where the car is crushed, destroying all evidence of the detective's death. Another small problem is also solved. In the end, Maxine was very satisfied. She goes back to her house and starts bathing. She had no plans for the night, but then she remembered her co-star, who said she was going to a party in the Hollywood Hills. At the same party where her last 2 co-stars died, and now her co-star will probably die as well. Maxine wondered if she could save the girl's life. With this in mind, she drives to the Hollywood Hills and finds that police detectives are also following her. When she reaches the party venue, she finds that there is no party going on. Before going back, she hears some noise. She goes in and sees that a video of her childhood is playing. This is the same video we saw at the beginning of the movie. Maxine now moves into this room. This is the house where her colleagues died earlier. It was probably a trap for her. This is the first time the face of the person we haven't seen in the entire movie is shown. It's none other than Maxine's father. Seeing her father, Maxine remained still. This man had been looking for Maxine for years. After much trouble, Maxine herself comes to him. Why did he commit so many murders? There was a reason behind it. He believed that horror movies were corrupting people's minds. People were going to this sin. To stop these sins and expose Hollywood, he committed all these murders and sealed their faces. Maxine is here to save her co-star. But she did not know that the girl died before she came here. At this point, his foot falls on a suitcase which tumbles down the stairs and opens, and out comes the severed head of her co-star. Before Maxine realizes anything, her father knocks her unconscious and takes her to a special place. Her father believed that Maxine was lost and could be brought back. To cleanse all the sins he had committed, they were going to cure her of a demon. For this she was tied to a tree. Here her father had many followers and everything was being recorded. Before he can put the same seal on Maxine's mouth that he put on the mouths of the others, the detectives who have been following her arrive. Shooting at Maxine's father, he misses his aim and a stalemate ensues. Many people are shot dead by the police, but Maxine's father escapes. Detectives also chase him and catch him near the Hollywood Hills sign. On arrival, 2 police detectives are seriously injured and Maxine's father, who is also injured, collapses. Maxine also arrives here to kill her father. Before Maxine can kill her father, a police helicopter flies by. Seeing this, Maxine thinks that if she kills her father right here, right now, she will become a hero to everyone because her father is a serial killer. Doing this will increase her fame because she killed her father to save people. Everyone will start thinking of her as a hero and she will become a hit before the release of any movie, and later she will be interviewed on major channels. To do everything, she just needs to kill her father, and without wasting time, she does it. She crushed her father's head to death. The scene cuts and sometime to the next scene where Maxine has finished shooting the movie. Maxine came to the premiere of her movie and, according to her, she became famous even before her movie was released. She is still being interviewed and thousands of people are coming to listen to her. With her rising fame, the story ends with this final scene.